Today I am going to discuss the topics in environmental chemistry like the greenhouse effect, ozone layer and its depletion. First of all, we have to discuss the greenhouse effect and global warming. If we consider the earth to be in a thermally steady state, that is the state where the flux of energy received from the sun equals to the energy emitted by the earth, that is the earth acts as a black body, that is it absorbs some sort of radiations and it emits the absorbed radiations. This figure shows the behavior of the incoming radiations. Most of the radiations is coming from the sun. So the temperature on the surface of the earth has been maintained by the energy balance of the sun's rays that strikes on the planet, that is that strikes on the earth, and the heat that radiates back into the space. Let us now discuss what is the theory behind it. Suppose EA is the fraction of energy absorbed on the surface of the earth, where A represents the albedo of the earth, that is the overall reflectivity of our planet, that is the reflectivity of the earth. Approximately it is found to be 0.29. It is a dimensionless quantity. And EA is the energy absorbed. So we can write EE, that is equal to EA. Suppose F is the solar energy flux at the top of the earth atmosphere, that is the energy per unit area per unit time that falls on the surface of the earth. And here the F is also known as the solar constant, and its value is approximately 1370 watts per meter square. E is the energy released on the earth as the electromagnetic radiation, that is it is the earth acts as a black body. According to Stefan Boltzmann law, we can write the energy emitted by the earth, the electromagnetic energy emitted by the earth, that is equal to 4 pi r square sigma t raised to 4, where r is the radius of the earth, J is the Stefan Boltzmann constant, that is T is equal to 5.67 into 10 raised to minus 8 watts per meter square, and the T is the temperature of the earth, and pi r square is the area, and it is multiplied with the factor EA10. This therefore, according to the law of conservation of energy, we can write pi r square into 1 minus a f, that is equal to 4 pi r square sigma t raised to 4. On solving this, we can find out the value of t as, first we have to find out the value of t raised to 4, that is equal to 1 minus a into f divided by 4 sigma. From that, t is equal to 1 minus a into f by 4 sigma the whole raised to 1 by 4. Here the values a, f, sigma are already constant, and by substituting these constant values one can find out the value of the temperature, that is the temperature on the surface of the earth, that is equal to 256 Kelvin. However, the surface temperature of the earth is around 298 Kelvin. This temperature, that is 258, by calculating it we have to find out it is 258 Kelvin, but the actual surface temperature of the earth is 298 Kelvin. This temperature difference is attributed to what is we known as the greenhouse effect, where a part of the emitted radiations, mostly in the infrared radiation, is absorbed by the gases such as water vapor, carbon dioxide, nitrous oxide, methane, chlorofluorocarbons and SF6, and these gases are known as greenhouse gases, that is a part of the emitter radiation is absorbed by the greenhouse gases. Among these, and we know that the oxygen and nitrogen are also present in the atmosphere, and these are IR transparent gases, and these do not have a permanent electric dipole moment, and they do not absorb in this region. And about 75% of the solar radiations reaching on the surface of the earth is absorbed by the earth's surface, and that increases the temperature on the surface of the earth. The rest of the heat radiates back to the atmosphere. Some of the heat is trapped by the gases such as, that is already mentioned, that is carbon dioxide, methane, oxygen, chlorofluorocarbons, etc., and water vapor in the atmosphere. Thus, these they add to the heating of the atmosphere. This causes the global warming. The atmosphere surrounded by the earth acts as a blanket, or it acts as a greenhouse, which maintains the overall temperature on the surface of the earth. But now it is undergoing changes, although slowly. Just as the glass in the greenhouse holds the sun's warmth inside, the atmosphere traps the sun heat near the surface of the earth and keep it warm. This is called natural greenhouse effect, because it maintains the temperature and makes the earth perfect for life. In a greenhouse, the solar radiations pass through the transparent glass and heat up the soil and plants. The warm soil and plants emit infrared radiations. Since glass is opaque to infrared radiations, it is partly reflect and partly absorb these radiations. This mechanism keeps the energy of the sun trapped in the greenhouse. Now we have to discuss how carbon dioxide causes the greenhouse effect and global warming. Carbon dioxide in its dense concentration acts as a serious pollutant and the major contributor to global warming. That is, the carbon dioxide is the major contributor to global warming. The carbon dioxide molecule trap the heat energy as they are transparent to sunlight, but it is not heat the radiations, but the carbon dioxide only trap the heat radiations. An increase in the concentration of the carbon dioxide means more infrared radiation is trapped into the carbon dioxide molecule, inside the carbon dioxide molecules. Once the carbon dioxide molecules trap the infrared radiations, when these carbon dioxide molecules re-emitted back to the earth, producing an increase in the temperature. If the amount of carbon dioxide crosses a delicate proportion of 0.3%, the natural greenhouse balance may get disturbed. That means the temperature, that is the greenhouse effect, the natural greenhouse effect, that is the maintenance of the temperature gets destroyed and the temperature starts to increasing. Besides carbon dioxide, some other greenhouse gases like methane, water vapor, nitrous oxide, chlorofluorocarbons and ozone, they also causes greenhouse effect. Methane is produced normally methane is produced when vegetation is started, or it is digested or rotted in the absence of oxygen. The large amount of methane are released in the paddy fields, coal mines, from rotting garbage dumps and by fossil fuels. So this methane causes greenhouse effect, damage to the greenhouse of the earth. And also chlorofluorocarbons are the man-made industrial chemicals, and these are produced by the consumption of air conditioning. Chlorofluorocarbons are also damaging the ozone layer that protect our earth from the harmful UV radiations. Nitrous oxide occurs naturally in the environment. In recent years, their quantities have increased significantly due to the use of chemical fertilizers and the burning of fossil fuels. What are the consequences of global warming? First one is warmer climate. On an average, the earth temperature will become warmer than the earlier, while some places will get warm while other places may not be warm like that places. That is, first consequence is the climate become more hot, that climate become more warm. The second consequence is the rise of sea level. Due to the global warming, the glaciers and the ice sheet of Greenland and Antarctic will melt, which will add the water to the sea level, and this causes the melting of polar ice caps, and it causes flooding of the low lying areas on the earth which is near to the sea level. So it will damage the life of the earth. Third impact of or third consequence of global warming is the agricultural impact. According to multiple experiments with high concentration of carbon dioxide in the atmosphere, the growth of crops is twice than the normal growth. At the same time, the shifting of the climatic pattern may change the areas where the crops grow faster and better, thus affecting the normal amount of agricultural production. So, the concentration of carbon dioxide has a profound effect in the agricultural field. Third consequence is the environmental effect. The major one is the greenhouse effect. It is the major factor that keeping the earth warmer because it keeps some of the planet's heat it keeps the planet's heat to maintain a constant. In fact, without greenhouse effect, the Earth's average global temperature would be much colder and the life on the Earth become not possible. Increase in the global temperature increases the evidence for or the occurrence of infectious diseases like dengue, malaria, yellow fever, sleeping sickness, etc. And these are the consequences of global warming. That is, one is warmer climate, second the rise of sea level, third is the agricultural impact, and fourth is the environmental effect. Next we have to study the formation and breakdown of ozone. The upper stratosphere consisting of considerable amount of ozone, and this ozone protect us from the harmful UV radiations, and these radiations have a wavelength of 255 nanometer, and these radiations are coming from the sun. That is, the ozone layer in the upper stratosphere protect us from the harmful UV radiations that coming from the sun. Therefore, we have to maintain the ozone shield around the earth. The ozone in the stratosphere is produced as a result of the interaction of the UV radiations with the molecular oxygen, that is, oxygen molecule. In the stratosphere, the UV radiations split the molecular oxygen into free oxygen atoms. These free oxygen atoms combines with the another molecular oxygen to form ozone. That is, ozone is thermodynamically unstable and it decomposes to molecular oxygen. So there is a thermodynamic equilibrium exists between the ozone molecule and the oxygen molecule, and the reaction is reversible. This stratospheric ozone protects the life on the surface of the earth by screening these harmful radiations that are coming from the sun through a photodissociation mechanism. That is, this mechanism involves the reaction. Photodissociation mechanism involves the reaction of ozone molecule with UV radiation, that is, it is represented by H nu. By reacting with the ozone with this H nu, it is split up into oxygen molecule and oxygen free radical. This oxygen free radical again react with the oxygen molecule to form ozone. Thus, ozone absorbs the UV radiation without being consumed. The net result is to convert the ozone radiation into the heat. That is, because of these two reactions, some sort of heat energy is released into the atmosphere without changing the concentration of ozone. Therefore, this is the reason why the temperature increases with altitude in stratosphere, giving rise to an inversion layer that traps the molecule into the troposphere. This ozone molecule is also consumed in another reaction, that is, it is called a recombination reaction. That is, this oxygen free radical is reacted with the ozone molecule to form two molecules of dioxygen, that is, oxygen molecule. However, this reaction is very low, and certain other chemical species, mainly the radicals such as oxides of nitrogen, that is NO free radicals and NO2 free radicals, and atmospheric hydrogen and its hydrogen free radical, oxygen free radical species like as OH free radicals and OH2 free radicals, and chlorine species like Cl free radicals, ClO free radicals, and ClO2 free radicals. And these free radicals are responsible for the catalyzing the recombination reactions of ozone. That is, O3 plus O gives the molecular oxygen. The thickness of ozone layer is then the result of the competition between the photodissociation and recombination mechanisms. In 1930, Chapman proposed the following set of reactions to explain the chemistry of oxygen species in the atmosphere. That is, oxygen molecule absorbs UV radiation, that is H nu, gives two oxygen free radicals. One of the oxygen free radicals combines with the molecular oxygen to form ozone. This ozone again reacts with the UV radiations to form oxygen molecules and oxygen free radical. And these oxygen free radicals again react with the ozone molecules to form molecular oxygen. And this chain continues in the stratosphere. In recent years, there has been many reports on the depletion of this ozone layer because of the presence of certain harmful chemicals on the stratosphere. The main reason for the ozone layer depletion is believed to the release of chlorofluorocarbons. It is also known as freons. These compounds are non-reactive, non-inflammable, non-toxic organic molecules, and they are used in refrigerators, air conditioners, and in the production of plastic foam, and by the electronic industry for cleaning the computer parts, etc. Once chlorofluorocarbons are released into the atmosphere, they mix with the normal atmospheric gases and eventually reach the stratosphere. Once it reaches the stratosphere, it gets broken down the powerful UV radiations, releasing powerful radiation by releasing the chlorine free radicals. That is, chlorofluorocarbons CF2Cl2 react with the UV radiations to form chlorine free radicals and CF2Cl. The chlorine free radical then react with the stratospheric ozone to form chlorine monoxide radicals and molecular oxygen. That is Cl free radical plus O3 gas gives ClO free radical plus O2 gas. Reaction of this chlorine monoxide radical ClO with the atmospheric oxygen produces more chlorine radicals. That is ClO plus O2 gives Cl gas plus O2 gas. The chlorine radicals are continuously regenerated and cause the breakdown of ozone. Thus, chlorofluorocarbons are the transporting agents for continuously generating the chlorine radicals into the stratosphere and thus damaging the ozone layer. Now, we have to study what is ozone hole. The atmospheric scientists working in Antarctica reported the depletion of ozone layer, commonly known as ozone hole, over the South Pole. It was reported during a unique set of conditions at summer season. In summer season, nitrogen dioxide and methane react with chlorine monoxide. As per the reaction, ClO gas plus NO2 gives ClONO2. The chlorine atoms normally form in the chlorine sinks, which preventing much of the ozone depletion. Whereas in winter season, there is a special type of clouds in the Antarctic region that is called polar stratospheric clouds, and this polar stratospheric clouds gets covered on the surface of the chlorine nitrate, which is formed as a result of the equation 20, and this chlorine nitrates get hydrolyzed to form hypochlorous acid as per the reaction equation 22. That is ClONO2 gas plus H2O gives HOCl plus HNO3. It also reacts with the hydrogen chloride, that is HCl, to produce Cl2 gas and nitric acid as per the equation 23. When sunlight returned to Antarctica during the spring season, the sunlight break up the clouds of HOCl and Cl2, and this is a photolyzed chemical reaction. That is, this sunlight split up the HOCl and COCl2, HOCl and Cl2 as per the equations 24 and 25. That is, during the spring season, because of the sunlight, the HOCl get split into hydroxide free radicals and chlorine free radicals, and also the chlorine gets split up into two chlorine free radicals. These chlorine free radicals thus formed initiate the chain reaction for ozone depletion in the stratosphere, which has been described in the earlier slides. And what are the effects of depletion of the ozone layer? With the depletion of ozone layer, the more UV radiations filters into the troposphere. UV radiation leads to the aging of the skin, cataract, sunburn, skin cancer, killing of many phytoplanktons, damage to fish productivity, etc. It has also been reported that plant proteins get easily affected by UV radiations, which leads to harmful mutation of the cells. It also increases the evaporation of surface water through stomata of the leaves and decreases the moisture content of the soil. Increase in the UV radiation damage the paints fibers, causing them to fade faster. References: Environmental Chemistry Fundamentals, George G. Abelard and et al. From Springer, and Environmental Chemistry Unit 14 NCERT online text. Thank you.